So I jump out of my bed with painkillers and last night's eggnog buzzing in my head. My festive sweater's on, but the cookies are all gone. I look outside and find that Santa's passed out on the lawn. Christmas lore is filled with whimsical, kooky characters that somehow help us celebrate the birth of a man named Jesus of Nazareth. Seems like a pretty important guy with all these people helping us wish him a happy birthday. Frosty, Heat Miser, Krampus, Belsnickel, Stinky Wizzleteats, Doorway Sniffer, the Surveillance State, and of course, the patron saint of prostitutes, St. Nicholas of Myra, known on the streets as Santa Claus. Santa Claus has a unique relationship with the silver screen, with some of the earliest circulated films being about the jolly elf. But not all Santas are created equally, or for the same reason. While there's an established Santa canon, he is more or less a stock character that can represent anything in a narrative. He can be a symbol of belief, as he is so beautifully depicted in Robert Zemeckis' Polar Express, this larger-than-life magical being. Sometimes his lore is explained or expanded upon, like in Rankin Bass's Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Occasionally, the jovial nature of Father Christmas is flipped on its head, turning him either into an object of violence and bloodshed, or an edgy, The Hangover type character. Bonus points if it's both. I love you, David Harbour! Oh yeah, also...
Garbage Day! Huh? No!
That's a Christmas movie, by the way. That masterpiece aside, holiday entertainment can be so much more than 90 minutes of color and show tunes to keep the errant waifs distracted while you drown your sorrows in spiked eggnog. I'm speaking figuratively, of course. I don't think we truly appreciate the diversity of what Christmas movies can be, or how many different ways you can write a Santa Claus. He's a tool for filmmakers to visualize all the ways we culturally respond to the holiday season. I recommend this Wikipedia article to explore more of the phenomenon when you have the time, especially since I haven't seen some of the movies mentioned and can't really comment on them. Or don't, it's fucking Wikipedia. This whole subject honestly deserves a deeper dive given how unsung I think the full scope of Santa Claus in film really is. Not here though. Because I'm me and this is my goofy ass channel, we're gonna look at some of the strangest depictions of Santa Claus in movies I think ever. These are all quite literally the aforementioned hour-and-a-half timers to keep the kids distracted. But they'll also make Sugar Plum Fairies dance in their heads along with their nascent trauma. Trying to describe any of their plots to a cognizant person is kind of like trying to recall the events of a late-night Christmas Eve bender. I'm a method actor. At the end of the day, though, the existence of these films isn't that strange or anything to really write home about if you actually know film history. Hollywood will pretty much write and shoot anything if they think it'll make a buck. But I am of the firm belief that if you catch someone off guard with one of these movies, you might suddenly put them in panic mode. Like if you whisper Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny into the ear of a figure skater before their Olympic debut, you are liable for any ice-related injuries caused by emotional distress. Speaking of emotional distress, I watched all of these movies multiple times through. I'm kind of an expert on them now, and I mourn the dead brain cells that I lost along the way. Who am I kidding? I would have just blasted them into oblivion anyways, taking blunts to the face. This segment of the video is sponsored by
smoking big doinks in Amish.
The reason I survived college and now have short-term memory loss. Wait a minute, what was I talking about? If you're the type of person I know my audience is made of, then you've definitely heard of at least one of these movies. Especially if you're a big Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan, as these movies were prominently featured on MST3K and Rifftrax.
So is this neo-realism?
However, because my intoxicated recollection of these films is murky at best, I hope to shed some extra knowledge on them if you're already familiar. Because useless film trivia is and will always be my Christmas gift to my subscribers. No, I do not have a gift receipt. So, Santa Claus from 1959, despite having the most generic title ever, is a bad trip you'll probably never forget. Directed by Rene Cardona, famous for campy luchador films like Night of the Blood Beast, this Mexican Christmas film was dubbed in English and released in America under the direction of K. Gordon Murray. Now, Murray was a big influence on film distribution throughout the 50s and 60s. I'll link this article about his life if you want to read more. Anyways, this film opens on a musical number, which is pretty standard for a Christmas film at the time, where children from around the globe help Santa perform a song for no crowd.
These little helpers are from Africa.
Uh-oh, oh god, okay, let's calm down.
Here are Santa's helpers from Spain.
Spain? Spain, I guess.
Here's a happy song from Italy.
I feel like I'm being gaslit by this movie. Ah, yes, the staple of Caribbean culture. Guns! Hey, why is this kid jerking that one off? Before this movie gets more racist, let's introduce you to Satan's little helper. This theater kid named Bitch.
You, bitch, chief of all my demons, must listen closely.
So Bitch and his pals do a live drag rendition of Night on Bald Mountain before one of the most abstract depictions of Satan I have ever seen commands him to ruin Christmas for Santa or else...
And instead of red hot coals, you will eat chocolate ice cream.
I think this is trying to portray the idea that the devil is bad in a way that children could understand by making him detest something you'd assume kids like. But he's not evil because he likes sweet treats like ice cream. It's because he's gay. Santa also has a whole room of these weird machines that allow him to basically spy on children. They're all creepily anatomical in ways that, honestly, this joke is beneath me. You know, it's really telling when the scariest thing about your film isn't the literal demons from hell. It's the uncanny puppetry and woefully misguided sound design that's supposed to be appealing to kids. Even the children in the movie look like they're gonna tell their therapists about this years later. Wait, hold up. What the actual fuck? Fun fact! The voice actor in this scene was actually a real reindeer named Oliver who lives up north. You know, like in the song, Oliver the Other Reindeer. Google Oliver North to learn more. Actual fun fact this time, the MST3K episode where they riffed this movie has the first recorded use of the word nightmare fuel.
Whoa, now this is good old-fashioned nightmare fuel.
So Bitch sets out to sabotage Santa by getting some kids to act like regular kids, I guess. He tries to get this girl, Lupita, to steal a doll, but she honestly looks too confused to even comprehend what's happening. This side plot is so mundane that my brain has basically deleted it, along with all my childhood memories. So Santa needs to combat the forces of evil, and to do so, he enlists the help of Merlin the Magician and Hephaestus from ancient Greek mythology. A staple of Christmas being aided by occult magic and pagan gods is actually really faithful to the origins of holiday traditions now that I think about it. But still! So with the tools his buddies from Myth College gave him, I guess, Santa frickin' Home Alone's the him from Powerpuff Girls cosplayer who's been trying to mess with Christmas. Yeah, eat ice cream in hell, bitch. This ending is actually pretty entertaining, and it does settle on a satisfying note for what it's worth. There is a sort of variety show vibe, which from what I understand was very popular in film back in the day, especially in Mexico. There's music, puppet shows, dance numbers, a story? We'll focus on that later. Make the hand puppets kiss. There is a semblance of a Christmas message in here to be somewhat serious for a second. This trippy, nonsensical story has its warmer moments, mostly in the side plots with the children. Honestly, if you do try to watch this movie, it's free on YouTube, by the way. These scenes are genuinely good for what they are and are somewhat faithful to the holiday spirit. As a fellow descendant of a former Catholic Spanish colony, there is something very grandma's cautionary tale about this movie. That's something us Filipinos and Latinos have in common. Our lolas and abuelas were always threatening us with eternal damnation. Hello, my precious little grandbabies. Don't you dare step out of line ever, or else you will eat ice cream in hell, bitch! The last movie was more focused on the religious morality of the holiday, despite its surely unintentional queer camp. In this movie, however, it was very intentional. Not the queerness, the camp. Directed by Nicholas Webster and costume designed by Ramsey Mosteller, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians was released in 1964 to lucrative success. There were even some movie tie-ins and a very popular theme song. This is by far the more famous of these films, and honestly, I think it's the best one. Now, because it's not really my vibe, I don't want to bash this movie too harshly. I'm still gonna make fun of it, though. Since it's clearly meant for snot-nosed little brats, the plot itself is kinda bland. Like, for a title that promises elf on alien action, phrasing, a lot of it is just mundane. Mars wants Santa. They kidnap Santa. Martian kids meet Earthling kids and Santa. Santa can't be Martian Santa because he needs to be Earth Santa. Good Martian who helps Santa beat bad Martian becomes the new Mars Santa. Santa. Also, there's like a wizard who fucking basically predicts iPad baby culture almost to a T.
I've seen this coming for centuries. They are born. Our electronic teaching machines are attached to their brains while they are in their cradles. Information is fed into their minds in a constant stream.
What is it with these movies and wizards? Is Santa a fucking wizard? Yeah, no, just because the plot is preschool shit doesn't mean it isn't also batshit. First off, the Martian helmets are a choice. I too want to have a mini 5G tower and a coffee mug handle on my head. There's this hilarious scene where the Martians get attacked by a polar bear, and it's so obviously a man in a suit, they didn't even try to wampa it. There's also the freeze ray, which is the most low-effort special effect ever. Oh, and let's not forget the tickle ray. Is someone getting off to this? Nicholas Webster, you freak. Director's weird fetish aside, I actually really like how this film ends. Dropo is this innocent Martian man who is actually the first one to be kind to the Earthlings. With the plot point of Santa refusing to abandon the Earth kids when he's offered to stay on Mars, it becomes pretty obvious that he's gonna fill the role of Martian Santa. Especially when he starts dressing like him and everything. There's also something really absurd about how matter-of-fact Santa is treated in this movie. In Rene Cardona's Santa Claus, a huge amount of the plot revolves around Bitch trying to expose Santa Claus's identity to the world, and Santa trying to keep the magic and mystery of Christmas alive by staying in the shadows. But here they're like, Mark, I'm standing here with the Catholic Church's own canonized Saint Nicholas of Myra. What do you have to say, sir? Oh, tell the Pope he can suck my ass. Honestly, I really like this exchange that goes on here.
Tell me, is it true that this year there's a rumor that you're going to use a rocket sled?
No, sirree. We're going out the good old-fashioned way with my reindeer.
In my opinion, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians represents a clash between scientific advancements and mysticism in the Cold War America. No, I'm dead serious. Space-age stock footage use aside, the inciting incident is the Martians wondering why their kids sit around all day watching Santa Claus on their Earth televisions. Santa far outclasses the cold calculation of a supposedly advanced race, bringing them something their society sorely lacked: joy. What's the point of all this technology making life easier if we can't be happy? This leads the main antagonist, Voldar, to see Santa's influence on Mars as a corruption of the youth, or whatever Republicans say. Santa bringing joy to Mars is seen as interrupting the regimented order of their society, and lo and behold, he represents an embracing of childlike innocence in a quickly advancing world. This is a straighter, more secular take on Santa than the previous movie. There's a much more distinct American ethos about it as well. The sci-fi camp is hella 60s, which is the stuff I live for, but in a surprising twist, it completely nailed the way society would progress with huge leaps in technological development. The fruits of our scientific labor have in many ways made us passive. Maybe the answer is to rekindle that old spirit of wonder and excitement. I mean this so genuinely. This is an ingenious use of the Santa Claus character, and this movie clearly understood what it was trying to say. However, understood is not a word I would use to describe this last movie. Alright, Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. Sorry, I just refuse to acknowledge that ice cream shit. In this house, he's the goddamn Easter Bunny! This movie was made? Assembled in 1972 and the brainchild of one Barry Mahon. Yeah, more on this goofball later. You can essentially summarize this movie with 3 sentences. Santa gets stuck in Florida, and his reindeer fuck off back to the North Pole. When some dumbass children fail to get him out with farm animals and a gorilla, he tells them one of 2 stories. Then the Easter Bunny comes in a fire truck with more kids to save him. Happy Christmeaster. Honestly, Christmas in Florida doesn't sound too bad. Every time I try to go swimming in my state during Christmas, this happens. This movie was not made with drugs. Drugs are made of this movie. There's this weird bit in the intro that's supposed to convey the idea that Santa is missing, but they do it in the most unintentionally abstract and, dare I say, Lynchian manner. Strap in, it's that kind of movie. This film's uncanny vibe is only enhanced by its creepy, minimalist sound design. I joked earlier, but there is something so dreadfully isolating about the atmosphere of this movie that it actually reads as art house cinema.
This is somehow a musical, by the way. And would you believe that it's actually worse than the deafening silence in all the other scenes? Santa sings this weird song and it telepathically summons the local children to come save him.
Oh, woe is me. Oh, woe is me. Who will set old Santa free?
Hang on, I got this.
Jingle bells, enslaved elves working at the malls. Santa Claus don't give two fucks about child labor laws. Jingle bells, stocks don't sell, the markets take a hit. This wholesome holiday has been commercialized to shit.
It's worth mentioning that this movie is actually just 10 minutes of a Santa Claus framing device and 1 hour of something completely different. Remember when I told you Santa tells the kids one of two stories? Well, that's because the director, Barry Mahon, decided to repackage 2 of his other short films by cutting them into this one. So there are 2 separate versions of Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. In one version, Santa tells the kids the story of Thumbelina. In the other, he decides to go with Jack and the Beanstalk. The Thumbelina segment is just as trippy and nausea-inducing as the Santa Claus bits, save for its vile racism.
Ugh, he was terrible looking.
I certainly understand. Frogs are terrible looking. We moles think they are filthy creatures.
This movie is a not-so-subtle advertisement for a now-defunct theme park called Pirates World. It so genuinely feels like going to Disneyland on a heavy dose of DMT. The Jack and the Beanstalk segment is pretty alright, actually. The music at least feels planned and is somewhat catchy, almost like it's a different movie that wasn't thrown together in a day. There's actually a funny visual gag and at least an attempt at special effects. Even with its clearly higher budget than Thumbelina or the Santa bits, there are some weird editing mistakes. Like with this weird cut, the merchant character seemingly becomes self-aware and it turns into a David Lynch film again. Anyways, when the nightmare is mercifully concluded, the Easter Bunny comes to the delightful tune of nuclear air raid sirens. There's this weirdly coordinated shot that only emboldens my theory that this is a lost sequence from Twin Peaks. Then the Easter Bunny just kinda takes Santa away to an undisclosed secondary location. I guess we're gonna find a dead body in the woods with rabbit teeth scars and pictures of all these kids on the 10 o'clock news. The McFrickin' end. Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny feels like an afterthought. Like you're a disappointed family member and this movie is your niece's poor attempt at a last-minute gift. Sorry, Aunt Debbie. I really don't like obsessively ranting about how bad a movie is online, but there is something that kind of irks me about this film's mere existence. Even with a ton of padding and recycled footage, both versions barely crack feature length. The Jack and the Beanstalk one is only an hour and 10 minutes. This was a cash grab, and forgive me for being dramatic, but an inadvertent allegory for the monetization of Christmas, sacrificing any real heart for profit. Let's just slap Santa on something. Kids like him. They also like ice cream and rabbits. Put that in there too. I mean, you'd have to be a real bitch not to like ice cream. Barry Mahon thought there was more money to be made off of his fairy tale shorts. And Christmas is the best time to put out family films. So fuck it. Throw this crap together and slap it on a marquee. Hell yeah, I'll even plug my Busch Gardens knockoff. Hey kids, come spend your money at Pirates World. Also, give a fuck about other people, I guess. Merry Easter! Santa Claus is an archetype. Something beyond this world, yet unmistakably human. He can be whatever we need him to be. A symbol for belief, the embodiment of the Christmas spirit. Christmas always evokes feelings of nostalgia, a longing for a childhood where times were simpler and we really did listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow at night. We had something to believe in. Now, as cynical adults, we pull Santa out of our childhood and play with all of his different portrayals on the silver screen. Just like those shiny new toys we opened on Christmas Day. He can become whatever we think the world needs more of. Belief, joy, compassion, whatever this time of year means for you. Whether it has religious significance or it's just a good excuse to hang out with your loved ones, we can all come together and agree on one thing. These movies would be a lot better after a couple of puffs of some Christmas trees.
Christmas Mama say no money now flow. Hey, hey, Christmas
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Please hit me with a subscribe, with a like. Tell me what your favorite Christmas movie is in the comments, because I'm really curious. Is it a famous one? It doesn't even have Santa in it. I wanted to make a more lighthearted video, and this is one that's been on my mind for quite a while. Probably since last year, if I'm being honest. But hey, we're coming up on a new year, which means more Dead Air Films content, so please stay tuned, and I can't wait for y'all to see what I have in store next. Isn't that right? Isn't that right, buddy?